Yesterday I spoke about when to change a player's technique. So today I'm going to discuss when not to change a player's technique. And so for an example, 2 years ago I was doing a clinic in Detroit, and there was a girl who was an exceptional shooter, and her father informed me that she shot roughly 45% from the three-point line during her high school games, but she was going to go on the following year to play at a Division I university, and so her father wanted to spend the season changing her shot to try to shoot from a higher release point or a higher set point in order to shoot quicker or to be able to get her shot off better once she got to the college level. So the father asked my advice, and my answer was don't. Don't even attempt to make a change. She shoots 45% from three. There's no reason to change her shot, because to me the negative consequences far outweighed any positive consequences. So to me, typically at the three-point line, most players are shooting open shots. Now, somebody like Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, players like this who are exceptional and elite and the outliers, they can shoot whatever they want. At the college level and especially at the high school level, most shooters are trying to shoot open shots. And so if you're open at the three-point line, it shouldn't matter too much whether you shoot from right in front of your chin or right, in front of your chest or just in front of your eyes, because the time difference isn't going to be so extreme that it prevents you from getting off a lot of shots. Now, at the college level, it will probably impact some shots. But to me, I would rather have a 45% three-point shooter who takes maybe one less shot every 2 to 3 games because she shoots from a lower set point than a sub 40% three-point shooter who can get off more shots. So that was my rationale. To me, there was no reason. Her shot was great. She was a great shooter. And so she would just need to find other ways if she needed more time or more space to create that time and space. So movement without the ball, maybe more separation on the dribble, better use of screens, things like this can create the time that she needs to get off her shot. So when shouldn't you change a shot? To me, anytime a shooter is already shooting well, and I kind of define well as 40% from three, probably 80% from the free throw line, I'm not going to worry a lot about anything that they do with their shot. In general, I try not to change too much of a player's technique, just because I don't believe that there is a singular ideal technique that we're trying to work toward. I do believe that there are some things that should be fairly consistent, but I think there's a lot of things that are fluctuating within a shot, and even from shot to shot within the same person. So I don't believe that an individual is going to shoot the same way on all of their shots. I think there is variation from shot to shot, and I definitely think there's variation from player to player. And so to me, there's no ideal that we're trying to reach. So in a lot of ways, that negates the importance of changing a player's shot. Instead, we're simply trying to improve what that player does naturally or what they've come to do through practice. And so the typical mistakes that I see that I do try to improve or change is the coordination between upper and lower body. And I see that as a problem with a lot of players. And to me, that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't change that girl's shot, because she has synchronized, if she's shooting 40% from three, she's synchronized her movements fairly well. And so to change her arm positioning, it's going to throw off the timing of her movements. And so she would have to resynchronize these movements with her arms in a different position. And so to me, that resynchronization and the problems with timing that would likely develop with a higher set point would make that change difficult. Now, if the player is not shooting well and they have the same issues, it tends to be an easier fix than other potential issues. And a lot of times, for me, it involves doing exercises not with the basketball, but really just focusing on their general timing and general synchronization of movement with, whether it's in the weight room or with medicine balls or other means of trying to train this basic synchronicity of movement, before trying to put a basketball back into play. Other things, I see with girls, I've talked about this before, sometimes they'll push their butt back as they shoot, which I feel is something that can be corrected. And a lot of times it's simply making the player aware of it, maybe directing some cues or trying to get them to shoot the ball a little bit higher can create that change in movement to get more hip extension as opposed to staying flexed and pushing the butt back. So these are some of the things that I'm going to change. With free throws, a lot of players will rush their free throws, so that's something that I will key on, is trying to slow them down and get them to focus on the basket a little bit longer before they shoot. Players shooting off the dribble oftentimes will find the rim after they've already started to jump or already initiated their shot, and I prefer that they find the rim before they initiate their shot. So these are things that I think can be simple to change, and oftentimes just are simply in a lack of awareness on the player's part, that don't require any kind of tinkering or tweaking with the player's intrinsic dynamics of their shot. So these are things that I'll go ahead and change, but for the most part, I don't want to do a lot to change a successful player's shot. And I don't want to do a lot to reconstruct a player's shot. And so most of my teaching is going to be focused on some of the things in terms of vision, in terms of basic coordination, timing, rhythm, pre-shot routine at the free throw line, pre-shot movement to get better balance on the reception of a pass or on the pickup of a dribble. So we're better prepared before we initiate our shot, so that we can allow, however we've developed our shot, our intrinsic dynamics to perform optimally. To me, a lot of mistakes will occur before we actually initiate our shot, with the remnants of pre-shot movement, or picking up a dribble and bringing our hand across to the ball, and now we have our hand on the left side of our body instead of shooting with our hand on the right side of our body, which is our typical shooting technique. Or we don't decelerate well, so now we have an extreme turn when we stop our to decelerate before a shot. So to me, these are things that are easier to change, and to me they're before the shot, they're before the initiation of the shot, and it's not really a technique issue, but it puts the player in a better position to utilize their technique. And sometimes if there is an issue with maybe hand placement on the ball, or a strength issue or something like that, sometimes focusing on the pre-shot movement or pre-shot balance or deceleration or ball pickup, things of this nature, can solve other more complicated issues, because you put the player in a stronger position, stronger starting position, or a better hand position to start, and so they don't have some of the mistakes that they think of as being part of their natural shooting technique.